Top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. It appears that unbeaten up-and-coming super bantamweight Ramla Ali is set to return to action early next year in February in the first quarter of next year against an opponent that has yet to be announced. Given how her previous fight ended, her fight with Crystal Nova back in August, I half expected to see Ramla Ali return to action at some point in either the fall or winter months, it being that she dispatched Crystal Nova.
She knocked her out in the first round.
She didn't get to bank very many rounds in that fight, thus she didn't get to garner much professional experience. So I half expected to see her again before this year was out, but that didn't happen. Perhaps she has other responsibilities. Lest we forget, Ramla Ali isn't just a boxer, she's a philanthropist and model.
She may have had other engagements for the end of the year.
Sporting a professional record of 7 wins with no losses, no draws, 2 knockouts.
Good amateur background.
Having debuted as a professional in late 2020, the year the pandemic hit, late 2020 in October, she has kept a steady schedule of activity, having seen action 3 times last year and 3 times this year. One of 3 prized stallions Matchroom has in that super bantamweight show, the other 2 being reigning WBA super bantamweight champion of Venezuela, Mayerlin Rivas, and unbeaten up-and-comer
Catford.
Ellie Scottney.
Catford.
I've said it in previous videos, I'll say it here again. I don't get the sense that it's Matchroom's intention to match young Ramla Ali with young Ellie Scottney. No, I think they're on separate paths for the time being. They may pursue world titles via different routes. We know that very recently the IBF ordered reigning IBF champion, New Zealand-born, Australian-based Shernika Johnson to take on Ellie Scottney.
They're supposed to be fighting, so you have to wonder, what's Ramla going to be doing?
There's a rumor going around that the WBO has stripped France's own Sigaline Lafarve of the WBO title due to her inability to defend it as a result of a hand injury. Is it possible that Ramla Ali may so decide to capitalize on this opportunity to become a world champion if this rumor checks out? I'll tell you the truth.
Ramla's a good fighter. Shows good ability, good length for the division. She's got some tools, but her overall readiness to not just become a world champion,
not just pick up a world title, but be able to defend it. I don't think she's there yet because, put simply, Ramla's matchmaking has not been as ambitious as Ellie Scottney's. With Ellie, we've seen her in there with anyone from Melis Gangloff,
2 former champions in Jorgelina Guanini and Maria Cecilia Roman.
More recently, reigning EBU champion of Spain, Mary Romero.
Those ain't the kind of fighters that Ramla Ali has been fighting. Don't misunderstand me. She's been keeping busy and keeping active, but the fighters she's taken on so far aren't of that same ilk, that same caliber of fighter.
I don't think she is right now where Ellie Scottney is as an unbeaten up-and-comer and a contender. With Ramla, I feel like those eggs need more bacon.
So, I mean, even if the WBO title is in fact vacant, and if by some chance the Ramla Ali people want to shoot for it, you have to wonder if that's what's best for her, given what she's done so far. Is she ready?
There's been no word, no indication that Ramla Ali means to fight for an alphabet title in her very next fight. That's just me bouncing ideas around based on what opportunities are there at super bantamweight.
All we know is she's coming back early next year. All we know here and now is she's coming back in February.
Could she have stood to be a little bit busier this year? Yes, I think so. I think there was enough time in there in between August and December to schedule her another fight so she can get some rounds in the bank, because she only banked 1 opposite the ring Crystal Nova.
But you know, it is what it is. She's supposed to come back in February, and I do look forward to seeing her come back. Don't know who it's going to be against.
Hopefully a step up from Crystal Nova, who offered little to no resistance for Ramla Ali.
So for now, just keep your eyes peeled for that.
My brother Kondo, LDBC or nothing. He said that's why Tia female. Oh no, we ain't doing that, bro. We why you do that, bro? I'm not doing that.
The podcast's host, dubbed Black Fight Fan TV, he had a line in the sand that he drew. A line he wouldn't cross out of respect.
Respect for another man.
As a member of the chat was indicating that Teofimo Lopez's baby probably isn't even his.
That was enough for Black Fight Fan TV to say enough.
He's not going to stoop that low. His co-host, however...
I can't do it. I almost did it. I don't know why you lead me down that road, brother. Can't do that. I told y'all about that, man. So I'm be talking about them people's family, man.
This is intended to be a boxing podcast, and it's not in keeping with decorum to take shots at Teofimo's baby. What the hell does that have to do with boxing?
He talked about their motherfucking family, his family in the...
Here's where things take a turn for the worst. Here's the reason why this soundbite in this video is getting so much attention from the boxing community.
He said up there he talked about Dev and his motherfucking daddy. So his crackhead ass daddy ain't off limits. That little kangaroo neck ass bitch he got ain't off limits. And that damn baby ain't off limits.
As stated, here is where things took a turn for the worst. When one of the panelists on the podcast, woman goes by the name Cece, decided to lay into Teofimo's baby, saying that the baby wasn't off limits.
And his motherfucking daddy. So his crackhead ass daddy ain't off limits. That little kangaroo neck ass bitch he got ain't off limits. And that damn baby ain't off limits.
Cece, no, for the minute, don't do that, don't do that. That's enough. Cece, that's enough.
Join my IG.
This video has been making the rounds on boxing Twitter. It's all people are talking about. Why would a podcaster, someone on a boxing podcast, what's supposed to be a boxing podcast, why would they feel so inclined to take shots at a fighter's baby, even if you don't like the fighter or the fighter's father?
Those are two grown men. You're taking shots at a child.
What kind of woman takes shots at a defenseless child?
What kind of woman?
What kind of a human being would do that? And for what reason? Over boxing? Over sports?
I mean, I understand that Teofimo and his father jointly, they're both very annoying, and we've addressed many of their annoying behaviors here on the channel.
Taken shots at both, but we've never taken shots at Teofimo's baby.
In keeping with the decorum, father and son duos in the sport of boxing, in the realm of sports, in the realm of boxing.
Talking points have been raised, but Teofimo Lopez's young child was not one among them, because why would it be? For what reason would anybody take shots at a child?
That's off limits.
Not to this broad.
I got you to do.
Cece, thank you, Cece.
He talked about their motherfucking family, his family in the...
Teofimo did talk about Devin, and I think he mentioned something about his father, but those are two grown men, not two children.
Can she not tell the difference?
He said up there he talked about Dev and his motherfucking daddy. So his crackhead ass daddy ain't off limits. That little kangaroo neck ass bitch he got ain't off limits. And that damn baby ain't off limits.
Cece, no, for the minute, don't do that. That's enough. Cece, that's enough.
Join my IG. I got you to do.
I'd like to tell you that this is an isolated incident in the YTBC, but it's not. It's one of many toxic videos floating around out there in the boxing cosmos.
It's not even the worst one I've seen or heard.
What it means to be a content creator in this niche sport, the niche audience that boxing content creators cater to, and how the line between content and garbage has been delineated over time.
The threshold.
Is it even boxing content anymore when it gets to this point?
I don't think so.
Believe you me, this video is getting a lot of attention. Gervonta Davis himself reacted to it by face palming.
Because it's embarrassing.
This Cece woman must have thought herself all the rage while spouting this vile,
virulent
vitriol at a child, no less. For what reason? I'm not sure.
Kissing up to Bill Haney, maybe, because he was on the panel.
In any event, she made a fucking fool out of herself, and people are noticing.
Hey, that's why just my sister. That's why I love the Queen, Black, and you, my brother. That's
right. Bill Haney, the father of young Devin Haney, he was on that same panel, and he was actually egging this woman on.
You know, when you bring some of your friends over, and you try to treat them right and you try to do them right, and then they fuck over you, you run into my sister. You know what I'm saying? And you can't control how mad and what she gonna say after you done treated and talked to us and did the stuff that you done did. So
there it is from the horse's mouth. Bill Haney is actually justifying this CC woman's behavior based on comments Teofimo made about him and his son.
Two grown men, not two children.
100% back her. But you know what I mean? I don't want the world to see how much I was laughing.
Bill thought it was funny. He thought it was funny that Cece was going after a baby, what is essentially a child. Going after Teofimo and his father is one thing, and going after a defenseless child is quite another, but not to Bill.
about it. You know what I'm saying? hey, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have
Thank
a
you,
good
brother.
one.
I'll tell you this much. It's not good for Devin, the athlete, Devin, the fighter. It's not good for Devin that his father is all mixed up in this because people, the general public, they don't like this stuff.
See, to the general public, that Cece lady's a piece of trash.
She's a scumbag. That's what she is to the general public. And here you have Bill Haney going as far as defending that trash, defending that scumbag who is just laying into a child, saying the child isn't off limits.
It's not good for Devin's image. The audience that content creators like this pander to is not necessarily the paying public, the consumer in the sport of boxing.
Whatever metrics this particular podcast might garner on the YouTube platform, that doesn't mean that all those individuals that take in this content are also consumers and customers in the sport. Thus, you're ruffling the wrong feathers.
Depend to these bozos.
To rub elbows with these scumbags.
And to accomplish what? To make yourself look like a scumbag for egging them on.
There's a lot to be said about all of this, and what immediately comes to mind is how this is not good for Devin's image. His father rubbing elbows with these people, them carrying on the way they've been carrying on.
Not in this day and age where anything you say on camera can and will be used against you and repeated back to you.
Can and will be used against you, can and will be used against your son.
We're gonna have to cover this in two parts because there's a lot to say about this and these kinds of content creators, if you even want to call this content.
What immediately comes to mind as I see Bill Haney partaking in all of this is how it's not good for Devin's image.
People are gonna ask themselves, if these are the kinds of things that Bill partakes in, what does his son partake in?
You think this is gonna get him any new fans? And finally, in men's middleweight news, it's official. Jaime Munguia has officially turned down the ordered WBO middleweight world title fight versus reigning champion Janibek Alimkanulai. The WBO have confirmed, and the WBO, what they'll likely do now is move down their rank standings to the next available highest ranked contender to see if they can't find someone for Janibek to fight.
A little over a week ago, reigning WBC interim champion of the Dominican Republic, Carlos Adames, expressed an interest in facing Janibek, saying,
I'm a champion. Why are you not interested in me?
It's likely because Carlos is not a full-fledged champion. He's an interim champion, a champion in the interim of Jermall Charlo's absence.
That's likely why he's not a person of interest to Janibek, although he should be. Janibek Alimkanulai should be so lucky as to share the ring with someone as capable as a Carlos Adames. To that, Janibek stated, how are you? I respect you. You are a good boxer, and you know me. We had 50 rounds of good sparring, but you're not a world champion. If you want to fight me, you need to get the title from Charlo. He won't fight me. If you have a championship title, I'll gladly fight you. I don't want to fight with no-name boxers. I need famous boxers. I hope that Bob Arum will find me a famous opponent.
So you see how Janibek feels about that. In spite of Carlos's expressed interest, Janibek is not receptive. Not that I think it matters, because Janibek is on Top Rank and Carlos, he's over there on PBC Island. Political boundary lines would prevent that fight from happening, whether both boys want it or not.
But what about Jaime Munguia? How long is this going to go on? And I've been telling you guys throughout, I've been telling you the whole time, Jaime Munguia is saving himself for an aged Gennady Golovkin. That's what he's doing.
That's who him and his team want to pop his cherry.
Now what?
You still doubt that I'm a middleweight nightmare? No, I'm not a nightmare anymore. I am the middleweight king. Where are the champions? Where are the stars? Your king is looking for you. Jermall Charlo has sat out all of this year, will sit out all of this year, and he's set to return early next year. Rumor has it, it's going to be against Maciej Suliecki.
So Jaime doesn't want to fight Janibek. Janibek doesn't want to fight Carlos.
Carlos ain't having no luck getting Charlo in the ring, and Charlo's not set to return till next year. And even after he returns, he's likely not going to fight Janibek Alimkanulai.
Janibek's handler, Aegis Climax, says he can't dictate, he being Jaime Munguia.
He can't dictate whom he wants to fight, but don't have the guts to say, I'm scared to fight Janibek. And the WBO should remove him at all from rankings for ducking.
To what stars is Janibek talking about, though? To what stars is he referring to? There's really only one bona fide star, one bona fide attraction at middleweight, and that's his countryman and idol, Gennady Golovkin.
And I remember a few months ago, Janibek said it on his own social media. He doesn't target Gennady Golovkin because Gennady is his elder, and he looks up to him.
Talk about your fucking shit shows. The middleweight division is a shit show.
Everybody, and I mean everybody, has a lofty explanation and a lofty excuse to not fight anybody. Like I said, Jaime doesn't want to fight Janibek. Janibek doesn't want to fight Carlos. Carlos can't get either Janibek or Charlo in the ring.
It's a shit show. It's a fucking shit show.
Here's how I think it breaks down. If Gennady Golovkin ends up winning his next fight, I could see him going into a Jaime Munguia showdown on the DAZN platform that might even be billed as a pay-per-view on a Mexican holiday, either Cinco de Mayo or in September.
What I think the future holds for the both of them.
As for Carlos Adames, who's over there on the PBC side of things, rumor has it that upon Jermall Charlo's return, he's not even going to fight Carlos. He's going to fight Maciej Suliecki, who he was supposed to fight this year but pulled out due to a reported back injury. So Carlos, he's probably going to sit on the shelf for an undisclosed amount of time, and Jermall, he's supposed to come back early next year in the first quarter. Meanwhile, Janibek.
Don't be surprised if Carlos Adames sits out most of next year.
Kind of like how Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia sat out most of this year. That's how they move their guys around in their rotation over there on PBC Island.
Telling you now, don't be surprised if they shelf him for most, if not all, of next year.
As far as Janibek and who he may end up fighting next, well, maybe he fights his countryman, Mayrim Nursultanov, or maybe he fights former WBA champion of Japan, Ryota Murata.
We know he's not going to fight Jaime because Jaime just turned down the fight. We know he's not going to fight Chris Eubank Jr. because Chris is supposed to be fighting Liam Smith.
We know he's not about to fight Felix Cash because Felix Cash is set to have a fight before this year is out.
Skiva Falcao is supposed to be fighting Gennady.
So that doesn't really leave Janibek with all that much to choose from.